Welcome to another Gene Key contemplation video with me, Sarah D. Flo. We're going to dive into Gene Key 37, and with all the Gene Keys, we'll journey through the band of frequencies from the shadow to the gift and the siddhi. With this one, it's the weakness is the shadow, the gift is equality, and the siddhi is tenderness. This one really speaks to the real pole shift is the name it's given at the shadow here. And it's this shift that's happening in our collective, astrologically speaking. A lot of people are talking about this. You probably could feel this in your life. The rise of the yin energy, the feminine side that we all have within us. And this weakness, the shadow of weakness, is really the dilemma of submission. It's the dilemma of being out of balance with the poles of our inner feminine and inner masculine, and submitting to one and having one be oppressive, one being stronger over the other. And of course, this has been deeply programmed into us for eons. It's been, the patriarchy, and we're all familiar with that. And, we might not perceive this weakness when we look at the strength that a male can have and the power over and the force. It's not something we would necessarily recognize as a weakness. And yet, that's what the shadow is speaking to. The weakness of not being whole and of not having the courage to look at our shadows and to look at the imbalances that we have personally. And of course, it takes courage, and it takes being bold to have the guts to look at, our own wounds, whether they be in the masculine side and the feminine side. And when we come into equality, again, this word equality is worth examining. It's not about necessarily we're all equals. How we might perceive that as like, well, we're definitely not all equal. Some of us are born into situations where there's definitely more privilege or whatever the case may be. But in this word, in this case, at the gift level here, the equality that Richard Rudd is speaking to is the equality of having our own path, that we can ascend the frequencies and harness our gifts and express our genius. We all have that as an equal, an equality. And so coming into balance is an inner job, and that makes us all equals because we all have equal access to going within and balancing out these feminine and masculine. So I'll throw it over to you. There's some masculine qualities and feminine qualities, and you can experience if one is definitely maybe submitting to the other or overpowering. So just a few, the yang being sharp intellect, the yin an intuitive heart, the yang determination and resolve, the yin flexibility and openness, the yang the rebellious enthusiasm, and the yin silence and depth. And the yang is the aspect that can be happy and feel happy and crazy for no reason at all, and the yin is the one that can feel withdrawn and melancholy for no reason at all. I can certainly say for myself, something that I've been working with the last couple of years is really being okay in the melancholy and not to judge that, not to judge some of these yin qualities that I might have judgments towards because of my programming. And I have been on a journey for a lot of years to understand my yin and yang expression. So I'd love to hear from you. Of course, there's more qualities to the yin and the yang. Those ones were the specific ones Richard Rudd mentioned in the audio. And as he says, that we are a rippling field of contradictory forces of the yang male and the female yin poles. So when we manifest this inner equality within us, then we begin to express our genius. And then we can bring this out into the world. And of course, just in balancing that within ourselves, we can help others balance this weakness within themselves. And as Richard Rudd points out here, that to get out of the weakness is not to avoid the thing that we're feeling weak towards, but it's actually to go towards it, to go towards the very thing that we perceive is our weakness, and that it can actually become our greatest strength. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Have you experienced that in your life where, there was something that felt like a weak link, or maybe even in a group dynamic? As Richard Rudd says, that often his perception is that, where did I put that one? I want to quote it exactly. Where did it go? Oh yes, here it is. The perceived weakest link in the group is actually the binding force of the group. I would love to know if you have experienced that or even considered that in your life. And then let's get into the Siddhi here of tenderness. And tenderness is the archetype of the mother. It's that place that you can return to time and time again to feel your own essence, to feel your purpose. And as Richard Rudd says, this isn't necessarily about an individual person, but it's the energy of Mother, of the earth, and feeling that feeling of being held and being safe to express yourself in all aspects. And we can never feel this tenderness when we're in the shadows, because tenderness is not meant to be expressed in isolation. It's meant to be felt in a group dynamic. And the I Ching has this hexagram as a family symbol. So this is the family, this is the blood bond, but also, not just necessarily like your relatives, but like we're all connected as one big family. And I really resonated with one thing he said in the audio about this, because I personally experienced this small, true family, again, I'm quoting him, can spring up in any small group of people, no matter how diverse their DNA. This is a collective essence that through its suffering finds a common bond. And if anybody knows my story of the past little while, I've definitely had that during COVID, very spontaneously came into like a soul family kind of feeling, and was deeply healing. And as Richard Rudd says, again here, that these small groups are popping up all over the world. Our future consciousness will begin in small groupings of people who are mysteriously drawn together for some form of higher purpose. And that's definitely how it happened to me. So I'd love to hear from you. Have you experienced any sort of mysterious synchronicities? And that's what happens at the gift level. We start to dabble into the network of synchronicities that bring us together with our allies. And it's only when we become an ally, our male and inner female become allies, that we then can attract our outer allies. So feel free to share anything you'd like, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.